Okay, so here's the thing. Apparently, Mrs. Ida is not a one-off character, and eventually she's even going to get her own sprites. So there's no way now I'm keeping that voice for her before. Maybe I can like keep the spirit of the voice without making it absolutely horrible. So I'm gonna try, okay? I'm gonna try. So the assignment for next time will be pages 255 to 298. And just as a small hint, I wouldn't be surprised if the table on page 263 was very important on the final exam. Class dismissed. As the class shuffles away, MC stays behind. Hi, Mrs. Ida. See, what can I do for you? I'm not sure I really understand what acids and bases actually are. Well, for today we were assuming everything was happening in a solution of water, right? Put very simply, the kinds of acids we were talking about today are things that give off protons in water, while the base is something that gives off hydroxide, OH, in water. I think I get that, and like, they neutralize each other because the OH and the H plus make more water. Almost, but it's not quite that simple. One very long explanation of acids and bases later. And then it becomes water. At least, that's how it works with everything we were talking about today. Okay, I think I get it. Thanks, Miss Ida. You're very welcome. I actually had a question I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind. What's that? You're friends with Natsuki, right? Yes. Well, she's been acting a little strange lately. Strangely. It seems to me like something very unusual happened to her recently that she doesn't want to talk to anyone about. And it's a little concerning. Would you know anything about it? So you do, but you also don't want to talk about it. MC nods. How do you and Natsuki know each other again? We're both in the literature club. We get together to read and write stuff on Wednesdays. I see. Well, let me ask you about this, MC. You don't have to tell me what it is that happened to her if you don't want, but is she alright? Well, yeah, I'd say she's fine. I mean, she has problems like anyone else, but for the most part, I'd say she's doing well. And how are you? I'm alright, I guess. Everything okay with you and Sayori? Does everyone know about that? I'm afraid so. You two are very close. Well, we still are. We're just very close friends. MC, this thing happened that happened to Natsuki. Did it also happen to you? Yes. And you're sure you don't want to talk about it? Not a question. It was a statement. It's not that I don't want to. It would probably feel really good to tell someone all about it who wasn't a part of it and make sure I'm sane. But I couldn't. For one thing, it's a decision that everyone who is involved would have to make as a group, I think. And for another, I'm not sure it would be fair to you to tell you. Yes, Natsuki said something similar. Well, I respect your choice, but just know that I'm happy to talk about it, even if it might upset me. Be careful what you wish for. Thanks for looking out for me, MC. I won't keep you any longer. See you next time. Thanks for helping me understand the material. Not a problem. It's my job. As Mrs. Ida ponders the secrets of the universe. Honestly, it was the worst. I thought I'd never get out of that closet.
Wait, when did this happen to you?
Oh, like a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh, I think I remember hearing a banging sound coming from next door around then.
That's an oddly specific thing to remember.
I guess I probably should have investigated.
It definitely would have been nice to have you come save me. It would have been a lot less embarrassing. Probably.
They sure are being friendly with each other, all things considered. Still shipping them pretty hard, are you? No, really, look at them! They are being rather collegial for all the recent heartbreak that should have occurred. I suspect that Sayori is just too kind and friendly to maintain any emotional distance. And MC wants very much to prove these okay and not that badly hurt. Though I fear that might not be the case. That's a very detailed view of the situation. Just my opinion based on observing them. But perhaps this can be turned into a way to get them back together. Well, that's a little ominous. Okay, everyone. Today I thought we'd look at another mod made by one of our club members. Specifically Natsuki. Then we'll do poems, then emails, and then we'll wrap it up. Why don't you tell us about your mod, Natsuki? Well, it's not really anything fancy. It's mostly just like a cooking show, but in mod form. But the recipe is a really good one. I coated this one mostly. It wasn't quite as tricky as Yuri's from last week, so we only needed one of us. So without much further ado, let's play it. Remember not to talk during this, everyone, or it'll confuse the game on our viewers' end.
Modception, Part 2. Baking with Natsuki. Oh no, there's Lucky Charms in there. Are you allowed to use the image of Lucky Charms without their consent?
Coming to you in front of a fictional live studio audience from a minimum second-order simulation, it's Baking with Natsuki! And here's your host, Natsuki. Well, hello everyone. My name is Natsuki, and this is Baking with Natsuki! That's right. Now, before we begin today, I'll be joined, as usual, by my lovely special assistant.
So hold up a second. You coded this mod. You coded this, or well no, Monica helps you code this mod. Does that mean Monica picked this song even though you hate it?
Come on out, Yuri. Hello, everyone. Yuri, yes, you're supposed to be wearing your uniform. But you're wearing normal clothes. That's because I'm the charismatic star of the show and you're the eye candy assistant. Now go change into your damn uniform. Ugh, fine. Ugh. It's so hard to find good help these days.
I'm sure there's a blinking light off screen that says applause.
Now, while we wait for Yuri to go change, let's talk about what we're making today. Today's recipe is peanut butter kiss cookies. That's right, often seen around the holidays, these small peanut butter cookies with a chocolatey kiss in the middle are delicious at any time. Now, let's start with the ingredients list, but first... Yuri, what's taking so long? Just a minute. Better. Definitely. Now, while I go get everything out, why don't you tell our audience what ingredients they'll need for this recipe? For this recipe, you'll need half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of regular sugar, half a cup of unsalted butter, half a cup of non-chunky peanut butter. Natsuki, are these all half a cup of something? Keep reading, nerd! 1 egg.
Yeah, that wasn't half a cup of thank you.
A teaspoon of vanilla extract. About 2 cups of flour. A teaspoon of baking soda. A pinch of salt. Another half cup of regular sugar. Don't question it, just read! And 3 to 4 dozen chocolate kisses. You didn't read it right! 3 to 4 dozen non-specified legal-sense chocolate kisses. Better! And that's it. That's not it, Yuri! Read the whole damn thing! This is ridiculous. Read it! And most important of all, lots and lots of tender love. That's right, Yuri. Love is the most important ingredient in anything you bake. Just ask SpongeBob. Now let's talk prep. For this recipe, you'll need just 1 big bowl, a baking pan, and some baking parchment. And of your oven, of course. Make sure you throw the legally non-specific chocolate kisses into the refrigerator well beforehand. They do best when they start cold. Now, the first thing to do is start your dough. If you would be so kind to start mixing, Yuri. First, we mix all the brown sugar, 1 of our 2 batches, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of regular sugar, and that's a mouthful, the butter, and the peanut butter. It helps if you let the butter get up to room temperature first, or it'll be really hard to mix. You really need to mix this thoroughly and firmly until it's consistent and really fluffy. Make sure to work in plenty of air. You'll need to work it for at least a couple of minutes. Once you've got that mixture really aerated and consistent, add in the egg and the vanilla. And keep mixing that until it's very thoroughly mixed. Mixing is really hard work, Natsuki. It sure is. That's why we're having you do it. Now, once you, or your very own kitchen assistant, has finished mixing in the egg and vanilla, you'll lastly want to mix in the flour, baking soda, and salt. This is where you have to be especially thorough. Make sure you don't leave any loose bits of flour around without integrating them thoroughly into the mixture. No joke here, kiddos. Keep stirring, and when you think you've stirred enough, keep fucking stirring. Are you allowed to swear on this show? On this entirely fictional show, you sure fucking are. But seriously, make absolutely sure you leave no traces of flour behind at all. Otherwise, people will taste a big old bite of flour when they eat your cookies, and no one wants that. Once you've mixed the dough, put it in the fridge and let it chill. Yuri, if you would. I like to chill it for a good solid hour, but you can really get by with half an hour if you press for time. If you don't chill the dough, you can still make the cookies, but they'll spread way out and get thin. And what we want are small, thick, compact cookies that you can press a kiss into. Normally on a baking show or a cooking show, this is the point where we have chilled an extra batch of dough in advance. Now, I've always thought that's kind of bullshit, since that's not how it works for you in the kitchen. That's why, here on Baking with Natsuki, we're pleased to be the first cooking show that uses actual time travel to skip ahead in a recipe. Hit it, Monica! Fast forward 1 hour. Gotta go fast, it says. They're blah blah in the sound about something. And apparently Yuri went insane at some point. Oh dear. And that's why you can't ever paint those blue. Now, I think that we're just about set on the hour of chilling. Yuri's about to go get the dough from the fridge. In the meantime, why don't we ask Monica to give us Monica's Natsuki's baking tip of the day? Okay? Please, why is it Monica's Natsuki's baking tip of the day? Shouldn't it just be one of ours? Well, maybe, but the tip of the day is like your thing. But it's baking, so it's also my thing. That's why it's Monica's Natsuki's baking tip of the day! That's right! Well then, okay everyone! Here's something you can use in this very recipe. Salt really matters in baking, and a slight difference in salt quality can make a real difference in what you're baking. Try to use high-quality salt when baking. A nice sea salt works the best. That's Monica's Natsuki's baking tip of the day. Thanks, Monica, and thanks for remembering to capitalize it while you read it. I have the dough. Excellent. Now the next step is to get it in the oven. You want to preheat your oven to 190 Celsius, which is 375 Fahrenheit, or gas mark 5. We've already done that here. Now get your baking tray and line it with parchment. Next, we want to roll our dough into little spheres, maybe 1.25 inches across. Now remember that other half cup of regular sugar we set aside? This is where we really make these cookies sexy. We're going to take our dough spheres and roll them in sugar to get them nice and coated. Take your sugary spheres and put them on the baking tray. Make sure to keep them at least 2 inches apart. More than that if you didn't listen to me and you didn't chill your dough. Once all your dough spheres are laid out, put the tray in the oven. Yuri. On it. Now these need to bake for maybe 9 or 10 minutes. You'll know they're done when they turn golden brown and start to look all cracked on top. Monica, could you just skip us ahead this time? Sure. Skip 10 minutes. Imagine a cool time ripple effect. Yeah, I wish I could do something like that. And we're back. Once you get your cookies out of the oven, the only thing left to do is finish them. With a kiss. Take your chocolate kisses and press one firmly down into a hot cookie, but not all the way through. If you chilled your kisses in the fridge beforehand, like I told you to, you dummy, then your kisses should only melt just a tiny, scrumptious amount while retaining their shape. Yuri, could you bring us the finished cookies, please? Oh, that's PNG of a cookie kiss, yes. Wait, that's just a picture of the cookies. What happened to the real ones? I ate them. Fresh, hot out of the oven? All of them? What do you have to say for yourself? Well, they were delicious. Come back here! Well, folks, I guess that's all for today. How could you eat all of them? They were really good, okay? It looks like our hosts are otherwise occupied and won't be able to say farewell. So be sure to join us next time on Baking with Natsuki! I will gut you and get my cookies back! Don't you touch my knife. Fiend. What a delightful baking show. Well, that was both disturbing and hilarious. I am slightly concerned with my characterization in this one. Good. But it was a lot of fun. Those cookies sound really good. Can you make some for next time, Natsuki? They are really good. That's why I made them in real life and brought them to club today. We can eat them while we do poems. Are you okay there, Sayori? Yes. They are cookies. Well, since they're going to be a distraction, why don't we take a short cookie break? The rest of the club beelines for the cookies. And after we're done, we can read poems. Now that we've completely demolished that plate of cookies, who wants to present their poem first? Our poems this week were supposed to be about places that are special to us. I'll go. In my room.
Alright, so let me just do that. Okay.
My room is my friend's. I get to sleep in my bed. It's also the site of 1,000 battles I won. It's always so me. It mirrors what's inside. And when I need it, it's a great place to hide. I look out my window. Sometimes when it rains, it's dark and it's scary. I'm afraid. Then again, sometimes in the darkness, I see a small light. A tiny little beacon. My lone hope in the night.
Oh, this one's kind of nice. I know you like to blend happy and sad. You usually start happy and end with a sad twist. But this one starts kind of sad and ends happy, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Sierra poems best that give me the warm fuzzies, and this is one of them. Plus, it just feels really well constructed. It's a good poem.
I'm a fan of the punctuation in this one. I think that's why it comes across as well constructed. It does a good job conveying its rhythm with the punctuation. Yuri, what do you think? Or what did you think? I think it was wonderful, as most of Sayori's poems are. My favorite part was the line about it being the site of battles. That really spoke to me. One's room really is the site of many battles we fight with ourselves.
Thanks, guys. MC, you go next.
Okay. Roads. Streets are like arteries and veins. The lanes fill with people moving by. I try to be a part of them, enjoying the flow. It shows the difference between a house and road. Your abode is separate and locked out, but about the streets you may well meet, and greet some friends who go along your way, and stay together like blood cells in the stream, taking paths together as a team. Okay. What did you guys think?
The most interesting bit is the rhyming structure, I'd say. You end a line with some sound and then immediately rhyme it at the beginning of the next line. It makes it sound kind of cool, actually. Yeah, it kind of sounds like a rapper almost. I agree with Monica that the rhyming is super cool. Can't say I'm getting the rest of the poem that well, though.
I get it. Or at least, I have a good interpretation of it. But I like the poem through and through.
Don't share that interpretation or anything.
For content and form.
I think that the content is actually fairly easy to grasp. You would. I think the poem could be a bit cleaner, but I think conceptually it does very well. Good work, MC.
Thanks. Who wants to go next? I guess we'll never hear Sayori's theory.
Well, since I was such a critic, I'll go next. Only fair. Inland Empire. A humble plant grows. It has water, sunlight, but its pot is a bit small. It hasn't been changed. The plant doesn't grow much beyond it. The gardener wonders, why won't this plant grow? Doesn't it have water and sunlight and soil? But the plant does grow. Look closely inside the plant. See its trillions of cells. The way they divide, organize inside the plant is a universe unto itself.
Another inaccessible Yuri metaphor. Is this about a garden?
Normally I like to keep an air of mystique about my poems, but this is definitely not about a literal garden.
Maybe it's about how complex stuff is, like microscopically? Like cells and stuff?
No, that's not quite it either. Any guesses, Monica or Natsuki? Got me stumped, Chief. It's got lovely imagery and sounds beautiful, but I can't say I understand the metaphor or what the place you're writing about is, if it's not a garden. Well, you know how I like to keep my poems open to interpretation. Maybe I'll just tell Hallie. Do you want to know what it's really about?
Spare me. No, tell us, please. Oh, wrong button. Here's the thing. I mapped my controller so that the button I use to advance the text is actually spacebar instead of left click, so that I don't have to keep the mouse cursor on the screen all the time, because that bothers me sometimes, and I'm sure it bothers other people too. But now the button to actually click things is mapped another spot, so sometimes I press the wrong thing and it's like, oh. But no, it's fine. We're gonna find out the thing.
Alright, I'll tell you in a secret way. Hang on. The plant from the poem is me. I don't grow much externally, but I have a rich internal world. That internal world is my favorite place. Hopefully now you understand. I'll go next. If you guys don't mind, that is. Home is where the heart is. They say home is where the heart is. It could be that my heart is split in two, but I like to think I have many homes, like a bird, migrating south in the winter. Only I'm a flightless bird, so I have to ride out my winters in my nest, cold, but it's home. With my flock, I nestle them and stay warm. Where they go, I will too. My heart is warm. It goes out to them. They say home is where the heart is.
You know, with Monica's poems, at first I feel lost and confused. But then I think I can always figure it out when I think hard enough about it. And then I get a cool aha moment where I feel smart for figuring it out.
Monica is very good at saving her poems. Do you notice the way she repeats the title line at the beginning and then the end? And the poem neatly ties in thematically with the introductory line and the ending line. It gives each line a slightly different meaning and context, like a little inside reference to the reader for having come this far. It's a very good poetry technique. I guess that can be Monica's Yuri's writing tip of the day.
Aw, I like that, but I also like it when it's just Monica's writing tip of the day. Anyway, I like the poem. It's very efficient and pleasant to read. It's easy on the eyes, I guess I'd say.
And it's punchy. The key to truly great poetry. Speaking of which, it's my turn. Closet.
Oh, I didn't just scroll this one.
Some kings and queens have castles, with towers strong and all, or that must be such a hassle. My realm is much more small. A fortress of imagination, great for any high school girl. It's my favorite location in the whole wide world. But best of all, it's really mine, a private secure nook. No one can disturb my shrine, except when Monica moves the books.
It's a nice poem and all, Natsuki, but I gotta bust you on this one. More small. I know you were doing it to rhyme with all, but you would put smaller. I'm sorry. Instant fail.
Very direct. It's cute. I like the incorporation of the usual club dispute. Honestly, if it were up to me, I'd always leave them alone. But the teachers really do covet the space that the manga takes up. Then you tell them that it's for important club business. I agree with Yuri in any case. It's a very cute poem. Very you.
I think the most important part of it is where she especially likes that it's hers. Like, it's the one place in the whole world where she really feels safe and in charge. I love the feeling that comes across from that.
I understand, yeah. It's weird being around this room sometimes. It's got such a blend of wonderful and horrible things about it. But it's good that some of the places are still safe, emotionally, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Monica, how about we get set up for emails? Can do. We have so many to get through.